Who is Dill Driscoll?
Am I supposed to answer that?
Dill Driscoll is an amazing person. He's one of the most giving, heartfelt people I've ever met.
I would say Dill is just a whirlwind of a human.
What's that? They're wild! Wild! Oh, wow.
Phenomenal leader, phenomenal visionary, phenomenal coach, mentor, encourager. Just a very unique, special man.
Don't tell me those are... No, I gotta go. You gotta the camera doesn't get out!
That, I'm proud to call a friend.
He's an Energizer battery, and he's road runner. He's a cross BBP is a savant.
He's kind of magic and madness all in one.
He has no filters.
Dill's gonna be naked, not naked, but boxer, yeah, like at the beach. It's Greece, man, come on.
But that comes from his thing about believing and being totally honest.
If I call Greenie right now and said, Greenie, I need $500,000, I guarantee you it would be, what do they call it now, VIN mode?
There's very few people over 70 years old who can walk into somebody's house and have a conversation that's fun with a 12-year-old, and he can do it. So that's probably the best description.
It's my new friend, Hugo. I met him at the Meridian Hotel Sunday night and made him an honorary Rescue 5 member, and he's got the special Dill Driscoll coin.
Okay, so real name is Mark Peter Driscoll, and Dill came about at Northwood School. A school took me in when I was 15 years old in Lake Placid, New York. And I was told by the headmaster I needed to repeat 9th grade and I needed to be first in my class or I would be sent back in a bus to New Rochelle, New York. So I did really well. I was first in my class every time. I was class president. I kicked ass there. And I used to read about John Dillinger. John Dillinger that got out of prison with a soap gun. And I said, gosh, this guy could do the impossible. People used to cheer when he robbed the banks. And I said to the guys, we're gonna form a society on the soccer team. It's gonna be called the Dill Society. I had a really great season and scored a bunch of goals. And the next thing you know, I'm in the dining hall and people are starting to call me Dill, and it just stuck. So anyway, yeah, that's how Dill, it really stuck. And after school now, I tried to get rid of it, but I started a ski shop in Lake Placid, and I guess the real Dill became famous there because I put the first indoor running track in the world for the Nike waffle trainer. And then I was the guy that came up with the Indian tank idea for Campbell's soup, which is at every ski resort still. They use them to do hot chocolate and coffee in the lift lines at the at the fancy resorts like Aspen Vale, the fancy places, right? Got pretty well known, believe it or not, pretty quickly, which is kind of crazy.
Until I met Susan and until I went down to Georgia, I thought he was full of shit most of the time. I thought that these stories were kind of being stretched a little until I walked into his office in Georgia, and it looks like a museum. From Formula One events to Dill with the actual World Cup trophy, dressed in a full Saudi Arabian garb, all these different things. They did all that stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy.
A lot of people say that I invented experiential marketing, and I called it livevertising. I take the ad, I bring it to the people, I bring it to life with human touch.
I want to tell you how very proud I am of Ford, of the UAW, the American auto industry generally, for what you have done to put America on the move again, to rebuild our position globally in auto manufacturing.
I'm the guy that put on in 1992, or was it 3, Drive American Quality. If you look it up, we put 120 cars on the mall in Washington. We invited the President of the United States and the entire Congress to come and drive American quality.
A lot of nice things have happened to me since I became president. I never dreamed I'd be invited here to this event.
and given a chance to drive my car. Nobody lets me drive anymore.
The Japanese were kicking our butts, right? And we said, everybody gets 40 cars. You pick your cars, we put them in the mall, and we're gonna invite all those people to come down and they're gonna drive our cars. I'll never forget it as long as I live. You can't believe it. Rooftop, snipers. I mean, it was right out of we should have had you guys filming it. And here he comes, Bubba Clinton. He got in that Ford, the pictures were all over the world. CNN, front page papers of the world. President, drive American quality. Go look up what happened to car sales in the United States. We turned the corner, that one event. That was marketing, and I was making a positive difference in people's lives. Are you shitting me? How many people in Detroit you think they hired since then? That's marketing. That's making a difference in people's lives, and you don't never think of it that way. '96 Olympic torch relay. Sergio had asked me in 1995, he said, we're thinking about buying the torch relay in '96. Jill, what would you do? And I said, Sergio, I'm gonna put trailers on the road, we're gonna give away Cokes, or we can sell them and give the money to a charity as we go. We'll pass the county, you threw the money in a bag, and we raised over $1 million. It was phenomenal. It was so successful that by the time we got like 60 days into it, Sergio calls me and says, Dill, stop! My top executives from Atlanta, they're all flying out to you. I said, sir, I know. I thought that was the idea. You wanted to get everybody excited. He goes, oh, Dill, yeah, ask Susan. We killed it.
When I met Dill, through hiring him for the Olympic torch relay, I was the client, he was the agency. I knew there was something special about this guy. I watched how he led his team, how he was full of energy, positive. There was no problem that he couldn't figure out a solution to. And so I'm like, I'm gonna work with this guy. And so I actually went to work for him at his company then, Momentum. And then, full circle, he sells the company, we start our own company, we get married, all that great stuff. But, a lot of people go, how do you and your husband work together all the time? How are you together 24 hours a day? And it's like, well, that's who we are. I'm more financially focused, project management focused, organized. Client service, I am awful at, but he's great. Because he's sincere. He loves them, even if they may not like some of the work we've done. He's like, that's fine, we'll go fix it, no problem. He's creative. I mean, his creative ideas are absolutely amazing.
It really started, John Stewart, a good dear friend of ours, invited us to a brainstorming session with the Boy Scouts of America because they're building a thing called Bechtel Summit Reserve. It's like building a ski area in the middle of West Virginia, and people knew that I understood how that sort of worked. Building stuff for the Olympics, for Six Flags, Disney. So I understood that whole theme park, build stuff type of thing. So I go to this meeting in Dallas, and a guy named Jack First is there.
I was working on a Boy Scout project, a team member. I had told him about my Carry the Load experience and that I wanted to see whether we could turn it into a national event. And he said, you need to talk to Dill Driscoll.
I don't know that I could fully articulate why I started doing it in the first place. I started doing those walks on my own on Memorial Day. I would just load up a pack, put a pound for a person I'd lost, and I'd just go. And it was kind of called into action by a few others like, hey, we want to hear who you're carrying, and we want to tell you who we're carrying too. And so it wasn't just me. I just started walking, but everybody else kind of made it into this thing.
On the heels of losing some friends of ours, dealing with that loss, trying to figure out an appropriate way to mourn, celebrate those lives. Memorial Day rolled around. Clint put on a backpack, started walking, and it was through that walk that an older gentleman asked him, son, who are you carrying? And that articulation of who are you carrying made perfect sense, and it was why he was out there. And so He shared that experience with me and a few others, and that experience led to the first Carry the Load event in 2011, White Rock Lake, a 20-hour and 11-minute event. One of our participants there was very unexpectedly moved by the experience, and started talking to us about how could we expand.
Before that even first day was out, it was later on that afternoon, I got a phone call introducing me to Jack, and Jack just wanted to talk about it. He said, hey, I started out doing this, and about 18 hours into it, I was doing this for a whole other reason.
After the experience, I just said, this could be something that's big, could be a national event, and it could have real legs to basically bring the meaning of Memorial Day back.
We get there, we're talking, they're kind of asking me all these questions about what I did, and then finally, here comes Jack. He says, you got 5 minutes, that's all I got. I need you to do a national program. And I said, Jack, what do we do? No one's told me what we're talking about. He said, oh, Clint didn't tell you? He said, so these guys, and he goes, these knuckleheads, they walk, and next thing you know, radio stations were covering it, and there's people out there. He said, I went out, walked through the night, and he said, they don't know what they have. This is a national program, and you are the one guy that can make this happen. Jack first said, I need a national event. I said, okay. And how my brain works is I gotta draw the map. So I was on a big whiteboard and I went, up, hold it. I went too deep on that. So I said, Jack, you go like this. The north. You come down from Maine. You get down here, you hit Florida. You come across, you hit Texas, you come across Arizona, the Southwest, and straight up. And I said, so if you want a national relay, I said, well, the first place I would start is a cemetery at West Point. Right about there. And we'll go to Dallas. Then I said, the next place I would go is up here in Chicago. The Great Lakes is where they train all the Navy guys. And I said, we'll kind of to Dallas. Then I said, well, we need to go up to Seattle, and you come down here because all the military bases, LA, blah, blah, the Quantico. Oh, by the way, they call it North Island when they train the SEALs in Coronado. And then we'll kind of go, right? Then we'll go and do something in the Rocky Mountains. And I said, what about the Air Force Academy? Gee whiz, start there, go through the Rockies, Dallas. Then I said, we need to hit this whole area down in the southeast. I said, but you know what? Burlington, Vermont, and near the Canadian border would be very interesting. We'll come down here to Dallas. 5 routes.
5 routes was not even on my horizon. Maybe it was on Dill's, but just the idea of cemetery at West Point to Dallas in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if we could pull that off, that would be awesome. But that was a monumental undertaking. And if you think about, Carry the Load year 1, this 20-hour event, this grueling meat grinder that we all envisioned in our heads, that logical next step for me was, let's do something grueling and audacious across the country. And ultimately, that's not what it's about. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that there was a lot of appeal to the audacity of it and the physical rigor and the challenges that it was going to present.
Dill said, we can do this. We can create a relay. It can be national. Got everybody real excited about what he might be able to do with his engagement skills, with his marketing skills, with his relationships to basically make something really fantastic from a national branding point of view.
And so what we end up with is Dill Driscoll, myself, a guy named Wes Connor, and Wes and Dill rent a Cruise America RV, and not a nice one with the bed over the driver's seat, a couch, and one queen bed in the back. The three of us get in it, we drive to West Point, we wrap the stickers on it in the parking lot of the Thayer Hotel in West Point, and the next morning we leave. And we had lots of walkers in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, lots of people with us. But those folks weren't drivers, they were just temporary, they weren't like staff members. So it was me and Dill and Wes, somebody walking, somebody driving, somebody resting for the first week, really. And it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, lemonades, and coffee. And like we committed to not using the shower in the RV because it's just a mess. And I wouldn't allow anybody to run the air condition because you're hot outside and then you come in and you get freezing cold and then eventually you end up sick. And so we had a Cruise America RV. We didn't run the shower in. We didn't use the stove because it just messed up the kitchen area with one bed to sleep in and no air condition, which was my fault.
The other thing I'd say about year one is the smell in that damn RV was pretty horrendous at times. And I don't think Dill would let you shit in the shitter. So, I don't know. Anyway, we had a lot of fun.
It was the most disorganized, but I had to let the guys do it. I gave them the responsibility. I toughed it out, and I walked like 700 miles that year. You ask my wife, we got to Dallas. She thought I was dead. I thought I was dead. It was 100 and boiling hot. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. But we got there, and that changed everything. After that, every year, it runs like clockwork. Picture this. Some crazy guy comes off a mountain with these two stones and goes, "Yo, everybody come here. I just saw God. Here's the rule book. 10 Commandments." Moses. You can trace back the entire history of the world, movements. No movement ever started without the human touch. The whole idea of the walk with Carry the Load is to talk to people. Hey guys, good to see you again. It's the ministry of hanging out.
How you been?
Good.
You look the same every year. You don't change.
Well, I don't know about that. It's 72, man.
Yeah, for the firehouse, there's a little donation from us. Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Keep it going.
I'll give this. Debbie! The thing you notice is over the years, the same people show up at the same spot. The first 5 years when I walked the same spots and I'd walk 15 miles a day. And there'd be the same guys that would show up. The first year I said, we'll be back next year. Next year, same day, same time. And every year we hit the marks on time, on budget. Okay? And we got to go. That's the magic of this. You don't have to market it. They know. Wow. It's the month of May. Carry Load's gonna be here on Wednesday. They're always here on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or whatever the day is, right? The first year I said to myself, I really need something that people will remember me by. We were the same route. People are gonna see me and they're gonna go, that's the guy with the cowboy hat on. He's a good person. Help him out. I put that hat on with my Carry Load thing and everybody goes, that's the guy. He's the Carry the Load guy. Everybody has a costume. My costume is always blue jeans, cowboy boots, white shirt. Who's not gonna like it? You're not looking stuffy. So the hat just goes with the program,
Here we are 10 years later in Yardley Borough with an amazing group of people. We are one of the official rally sites on the walk. We're so proud and so honored to participate with Carry the Load. And as mayor of Yardley Borough, it just brings me great gratitude to be able to bring this amazing group of people to our borough.
You have to prove sustainability. You got to prove to people you're not going to go away.
Be safe, all right? Love you very much. Keep this thing going, all right?
Who you carrying? Good job, guys. These people that come out, they've lost somebody, or they know somebody that they're 1 degree of separation of somebody either lost, dead, or crippled, or missing. It's emotional. I can't tell you how many times I've walked with people and absolutely cried my heart out. I'm carrying the load. I'm carrying Rescue 5. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Dill was the person who had the idea and championed this national effort. I never had any thought about that. I can't recall Clint and I ever talking about what we know today as Carry the Load National Relay. It was 100% Dill not being afraid to dream too big. You know, we're at a point today where our corporate sponsor support allows us to underwrite and execute these events across the country. And all the money that we raise, we are able to give away to these, dozens and dozens of nonprofits that are supporting military, veteran, law enforcement, fire and rescue, first responder initiatives and programs across the United States. We started small, but I think Dill saw the potential for this immediately. To me, that's his legacy, and like most things in life, there's a yin and a yang, and while Dill can be that presence and that force that you can't help but take notice of, on the other side of the coin, Susan does a phenomenal job taking sometimes the madness that's in his head and helping him compartmentalize it and figure out how to execute.
He's the match that lights the fuse, right? And Susan's the stick that keeps you from burning your fingers when you light the match.
I believe they believe intrinsically that they're here to make their corner of the world a better place.
Because Dill is the more energetic, outgoing person, it may appear that I'm his supporter. I am his supporter, but he's also my supporter. And it takes both of us to make a positive difference in people's lives.
You're gonna love this book, I'm telling you, and it's true. Spread happiness. That's what people want. Fun and refreshment. They want to feel good. So marketing to me is all about making people feel good, and that to me is what we do. Make a difference, a positive difference in people's lives. It's pretty simple, I think. Maybe there is a beast. Maybe it's only us. It's probably about me. It's me. I'm the beast.
I think once Dill pours into you, he hooks into your soul and maintains a tether to it in ways that are hard to articulate. And he just kind of knows when you need to hear from him. And he knows when you need a message, just a phone message, like he'll call you at some weird time when he knows you're not gonna pick up, and just leave a message. And it'll be a Dill message. And then inside that 20 seconds is 3 seconds no one else in the world knows how to say to you.
I picked up Dill's message this morning and it was, "Hey, Coach, I'm just checking in, call me." And it's nothing more than him checking in on me and seeing how I'm doing. And I'm sure that I'm one of many that he just calls randomly, tells him that he loves them, that he's thinking about them, and just being there.
I mean, I know there's a guy named Isaiah who's a Navy SEAL that I know I've helped him because he's written me a letter. He's downrange right now. Sends me a note. He says, "Hey, Papa Dill, just checking in. Thank you for all you do for us." He knows, you know what he means, right? He knows I say the rosary for those guys all the time, every day. He knows that. I don't tell him that, but it's like that's the kind of thing that you never know. Ministry hanging out. This is great.
I think his legacy is he wants people to think job well done, that he lived a life of meaning. and for being a person that really, truly cares and loves.
Positive human energy, that's what it's all about. That's what my legacy will be, for sure. What's next?
You got to have the 4 F's, focus, flexible, finish, fun. You explain that to the kids, you're done. Here's another thing I tell the kids. The sea is dangerous, its storms are terrible, but these have never been sufficient reasons to remain ashore. Unlike timid souls, intrepid spirits seek victory over those things that seem impossible. It is with an iron will that they embark on those daring of all adventures to meet the shadowy future without fear and conquer the unknown. Ferdinand Magellan. I use that all the time. That's what gets the kids. I want to be an intrepid spirit. I want to be like Papa Dill. Hey, I'm not afraid. Let's go.